Hey, next up we have Anna Kyrk, who's going to be talking to us about how she integrates technology with project-based learning in her school, I'm guessing.
Hello, my name's... brilliant. Hello, my name's Anna Kyrk. You'll have to endure my grating Australian accent for the next few minutes. A's and I's are particularly bad, so I apologise in advance. I am the head of curriculum at the moment at School 21, which is a quite progressive school in East London, set up near the Olympic site. It's a really, really exciting place to work, but I won't go into too much detail about the school. If you'd like to come and question me or my colleagues over there who have come along, please do. So my role this year goes from project planning from reception all the way up to year 8 now, which is new and exciting as I'm a primary trained teacher, but it's been really fun. So I've got a presentation for you today about some of the projects we're doing, and I'll give you our overview of PBL in a nutshell as well. So if any of that sparks your interest, please let me know. So in a nutshell, project-based learning at our school takes the form of a project which has these elements: an inquiry question, which really drives the learning, should be a question that's really difficult to answer and takes a whole learning journey into account while children are answering. A grounding text, which is rich and drives the learning as well. A meaningful product, which I'll talk a lot about today because I think that's one of the most important things. And even if you don't have a PBL curriculum, I really believe in authenticity and meaningfulness in what children are creating. Opportunities to critique throughout and redraft. Authentic audiences, as I mentioned, input from experts, which counts as the authenticity part as well, and then robust assessment. So in a nutshell, those are the elements that we build into all of our projects. Our curriculum is literacy, maths, and then projects, which covers everything else in the curriculum. So tech fits in these. I kind of thought about it really carefully because the name of our school, School 21, is about thinking further ahead in education. What skills do children need now when jobs that they'll have when they're old enough aren't even, a reality yet? So how do we really think about how we prepare them for those jobs when we don't know what they'll be? So our projects look at content, but also how to develop the child themselves, how to develop 21st century skills, which employers report as being the most desirable that they look for in employees. So when I looked at technology, these were the 3 kind of ways that it's woven into our projects, and I thought I'd go through some examples of each, and hopefully there's some ideas in there that inspire, and everybody will want to teach projects afterwards as well. So focus projects are one where the technology is at the heart of the project and it's really driving the learning. So some examples of these that we've done are one that the question was, what's at the heart of the central line? That was done with year 2. And they used Scratch Junior on iPads to program a little animation of a train going along the stops in the central line. And then they went out and used the iPads to film themselves giving 2 to 3 minute talks about different locations, which was then an app that was shared with tourists in central London. And that's people at our exhibition having a go at it. That's a year 5 child who's in a lot of photos. I just realised that. She's in lots. We have more than one child. This is one that's going on at the moment. We've actually changed the question this week, which is now what's behind the gamer's screen. And we're looking at a game like an iceberg, that the screen that you see is the tip of it, but then there's all sorts of things going on underneath. So the children are using Wreck-It Ralph as their grounding text, and they love it. And they're talking about plot development, character development, as well as the actual programming skills, and they're using Scratch for that as well. This one is more the hardware side. This was, same child, promises more than her. This was how do we bring our toys to life. Those toys were created by 9-year-olds. They worked on them for a term and they programmed everything inside. They made them move, light up. They did all the circuitry and the wiring as well. At the end of that, we gave them a year 6 SATs test on electricity, and everybody got, in old money, 4s and 5s, even our most SEN children, which was really rewarding. What does music look like? This is a secondary project because we're on all through. We have every year at the moment, apart from year, who are we missing? Year 6, so we're up to year 5. And we have 3 small schools within our larger school. So this was a secondary, and it was what does music look like? So these makey-makeys to attach it to water bowls, and they played songs on it. Then they studied the science and the wavelengths of sound and what it looked like. They made boom whackers, which are pipes that are cut to different lengths, and when you hit them, they make different notes. And then they went to exhibition and played some top 40 hits, which everybody loved. And at the moment in our middle school, we have an anomaly year where it's just year 5 and year 7. So we're doing vertical projects where they work all together. And this one is one that's under development at the moment. And we're arguing between using CamJam EduKits, where you build your own robot. And what's limiting that at the moment is our expertise, because we have to teach ourselves how to build robots that are quite complicated, but I know the kids will just run with it, versus are we just going to program robots that exist? Because we've been experimenting with Ozobots, which are amazing. Look them up if you haven't heard of them before. They follow lines that you draw on paper and follow coding done with colours. And then to program them, you use Blocky, and it's a bit like Scratch, but then you hold the device up to the screen and it transmits the coding through light, which blows my mind every time we do it. And we're going to focus on how automation will change the world, build a model of our school and work out, would it be in the future that our school would be completely automated and teachers would be rendered irrelevant or not? So that will be the question they'll investigate. Supported projects are ones where technology supports the learning and it adds extra value, but might not necessarily drive it. So some of these are, how does the Industrial Revolution affect children's lives? They used GarageBand to make really industrial sounding soundtracks. They hit like colanders on tables and pencils on chair legs and then looped the beats. And then we took it to central London in front of the Tate Modern, that big like smokestack building, and they did like interpretive dance about their to their innovated soundtrack. This is another secondary one where they used digital imaging software to recreate the Beatles covers, but with their own images. And it was looking at, they also did their own soundtracks, they played the music, they were inspired by their songs, and then did all the marketing as well. So it was a nice link. And then the third type is consultant projects. We're very lucky in this respect because we have a real-world learning team whose job is to sit in offices and call places and make network connections with us, which then feed into our teaching, and we use them really well. So some of those projects are, what could a museum of the future look like? And we have a genius multimedia manager who can do many things. And he used a site, write this down, it's good, called RoundMe, which gives you digital environments which you can use just on your phone or on a device, but you can also buy the Google goggles, which are, or the cheap knockoff ones are really cheap. We have a lot of those. And the kids made artifacts from different ancient civilizations, replicas of them, took photos of them themselves, and then recorded their own voices narrating, and then people came and went to their virtual museum and walked around ancient Maya and like went and tapped on their different artifacts and listened to their speeches about them. This one is a go-kart project we've just finished, and it was building go-karts in teams, but they used technology they again consulted with our multimedia guy. They designed their own logos for their team, and then he digitized them for them, and we printed that out on stickers. So there's just little links throughout. But that process with him included sitting with him and talking about what design elements are going to work best for their logo. It wasn't just like, here they are doing it for us. He helped them with the design process. This one was particularly cool. This is year 3, and they ran their own restaurants. And we had people from Salesforce come in, and the children were their clients. So they said, this is what we want. We want apps that people are going to use to rate our restaurants and choose a winner. Because the question was, how can we make our restaurant rule? And that restaurant that got the most virtual money, because you had to slide and say how much you'd pay for this meal and give it a rating, won. My class won. Yeah. What? So we had a 1950s diner going, but that's them talking to the Salesforce guys about what they want from their app, who then took it away and came back and did lots of drafts. So it was using a tech company and looking at technology from the role of, okay, if I have someone working for me, what do I want from them and how do I feed back to them? This one is What is the Science of Stories? This was a whole school project, but we wanted an app developed for visitors to come and actually go around to each year group. It was based on Roald Dahl, and they all had to find science links within each Roald Dahl book and then do a presentation on it. So we had tours of the solar system for Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. We had Tiny Mini Beast for James and the Giant Peach. And these children came out and worked with Salesforce again and designed an app using POP, which is prototypes on paper, another great app, it's free. And they take photos of drawings they do on paper, but then they can line it up so it's like a plan of an app and click through to how they want it to work. So they did that, gave Salesforce their their design, and then Salesforce produced it for them as well. And just to end on, my biggest thing, again, as I said at the start, is making it authentic instantly elevates the learning for kids, whether it's got tech threaded in or not. As soon as you bring it to a wider audience, it's outside the classroom, the kids are 100% more engaged. You can take the lid off learning, take them as high as you can go, and it just makes learning really fun for everybody. Thank you.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you.